So we are in the second part of our expose on Standard Chartered and how they collapsed a local company, a local enterprise called Monaco Engineering Limited, based on fictitious loans and inflated interest rates against what has been applied by the Central Bank of Kenya. We are more than happy to see that the Chief Justice, Martha Koome, has instituted a committee, a 3-judge bench, to look into how banks go off to dispose properties, because there's been lamentations, and I spoke about it last week, especially targeting somebody like Equity Bank, James Mwangi and Peter Munga. Perhaps people say some of the biggest property owners in the country because of exploiting the loan system and finding a way of hijacking collateral so that you are stuck in a constant loop, a never-ending cycle of debt. Even if you try and pay, they impose charges and interest rates illegally. So look at this document. This is an email. It is from Marete Martin at standardchartered.co.ke or something. Dear Mr. Karari, further to our conversations, I have since confirmed that we have erroneously deducted 2 installments of Kenya shillings 507,562, whereas the correct amount should have been 469,587, from the original document. This was as a result of having captured the wrong interest rate in the system. We will therefore reverse 75,950 immediately. I take this opportunity to sincerely apologize. This was in 22nd January 2015. You can see they are admitting that they made an error because of the system, but they were taking advantage of the fact that people are normally very ignorant. You're not willing to look and to interrogate your bank statements because you trust these banks, and especially the Muzungu banks. Some of you, because of being neo-colonized, you believe everything that the Muzungu tells you. You think that even this bank, because it's a multinational, that they must be doing something right. So you go there and you allow them to run over you, and then your business collapses and you think that you are a failure, but it's the bank that has failed you because banks are riddled with criminals. The third document is a notification from Standard Chartered to Monaco Engineering, where they were telling, because at that time the law of capping the interest rates was being introduced, and Standard Chartered was telling them that now we are going to we are going to comply with the new laws of adjusting the interest rates as regards to what the prevailing advisories from the Central Bank of Kenya, which they never did, which is something very funny. The interest rates that was given on the offer letter was 15% per annum. Standard Chartered continued charging this loan rate at 24.4% against, first of all, the advisory from the Central Bank of Kenya, who are the ones who set the interest rates, and then secondly against their own agreement between customer to bank that we are going to charge you this amount of money. So they switched terms in midway through the contract, midway through the loan, and because they did not want to lose their projected earnings. So you can imagine if they are doing this to 10,000 or 100,000 customers, they refused to comply with a legal undertaking, a legal requirement as regards to market interest rates controls, and they continued to effect their own so as to maintain their projected earnings, so as not to go at a loss. This is the highest form of criminality within the Kenyan banking system, and they are taking advantage of the corrupt system, the corrupt judiciary. They are taking advantage of the corrupt Central Bank of Kenya. The regulators have become sitting ducks. They no longer work for public interest. They are only subservient to the colonial masters, who are these bankers. So in this fourth document, you can see that they are literally admitting, well, not even admitting, they are going on record and saying that this is not the money that we had agreed, because remember the initial figure was 469,000. Now this one is what? 549,112, and they are doing it at 24% per annum. Remember, these were guys who had extended the loan facility at 15% per annum, but midway through the contract, midway through the arrangement, they switched the terms, and now they are going with 24% per annum. This is the criminality of the banks that you guys are dealing with. Take care. So being an honorable customer, Monaco Engineering sent them an email on 6th August 2015 asking, we are still waiting for the interest rates confirmation as requested, because they were wondering, why have you switched up to 24%, yet we had agreed on 15%. He was ready to pay off the entire loan at the agreed 15%, but Standard Chartered were non-committal. They were playing cat and mouse games with the client. So once again, Standard Chartered Bank, without any honor or shame, in this letter dated 16 September 2015, they admit, if you look at their increase on interest rates on the term loan, as advised when we met on July 27, 2015, the agreed interest rate on the term loan was 15.9%. However, our mutual client had been servicing an overdraft facility with a rate of 24%. Inadvertently, the applicable interest rate on the term loan was not updated in our system. Can you imagine? He has an overdraft facility which was being charged at 24%. That one was agreed. But then the loan which they had negotiated and agreed on 15.9%, these guys used the interest rates that they were charging on the current account, and it's just an error, it's inadvertently, these costly errors which have made this company go bankrupt, go bust. They had tenders, they had contracts. When people were doing due diligence, they realized, this guy has some financial issues with this bank, because this same Standard Chartered then flagged him at the Credit Reference Bureau so as to, it was a malicious attempt so as to deliberately collapse his business. Bankers are thugs. So on this document, they agree that it's supposed to be 15% per annum. But then now they come up with a new figure. Now they are saying monthly installment on every 21st of the month is supposed to be 483,578. Remember, the pre-agreed figure was 469,000. You understand? Now they have cooked another figure, these guys, because they are so pedestrian in their manner, in the way they execute their fraud. They hide behind systems and so many analogies and semantics, but all is meant to obfuscate the fact that they are thugs. They are literally stealing from their clients and making doing business in Kenya virtually impossible. So now the bank brought in the lawyers. You understand? They're trying to recover the fictitious and inflated loan amounts. Now they send this letter from top shot lawyers, law firm Hamilton, Harris and Matthews. They have two figures from two accounts. Now the first figure from the first account at 14% is legit. The second account, which has been blurred over there in black, does not exist. That is not related to Monaco Engineering. People are wondering where that account came from. They literally imposed a new account, and now to add salt to injury, the new account, the new fake account, which they have included down there, the figures are they are different even on every letter, on every subsequent letter, because the first letter was reading 17,458. That is from the fake account, and then the next one is reading 24,089. The numbers are increasing based on the correspondences. If they send you a letter today, next week it has increased. Now it looks like when we talk about the dichotomy of fraud in the Kenyan business sector, it seems like banks are working in concert with law firms, with their law firms, to defraud clients. As you can see, there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot of ground to cover as regards to this fraud case related to Standard Chartered Bank and Monaco Engineering Kenya Limited, company which was destined for big things. They were already having contracts. They were already certified by the US Embassy as a viable partner. Things started going haywire when his partners then conducted due diligence checks, found a malicious listing in CRB induced by Standard Chartered, who had inflated as regards to interest rates and due balances. So they projected this company as a company engaged in perhaps bad record keeping, bad accounting practices, all sorts. There's a lot of ground to cover, and so we will do this in several parts. The next part will come as we analyze. There's a lot of documentation and paperwork. Stay tuned.